Right, welcome along. So you're probably wondering what this video is about. Well, a few people probably know. The main question we're asking is who truly is the fastest front-wheel drive in Europe? Of course, coming into the door slammers, everyone knew Petros's name was at the top of the board. Coming out of door slammers, we know that David Lamech went into the 755 was his final PB of the weekend. When I left door slammers, I had a couple of messages on my phone. I'd worked for 3 days, literally got home, had my dinner, went to bed for 3 hours, got up for work, did a 15-hour shift. By the time I'd done half my shift in the morning, I'd already had question marks in my folder, and I said, for something that was been posted for 6 months is not going to get reviewed in 6 hours. It's now Wednesday, the 21st of May. I've had a chance to have a look through all the videos from How Far Raceway. I've had a chance to speak to people who are completely independent from front-wheel drive racing, who I don't want to say don't care about front-wheel drive racing, but they don't have a stake in the game, should I say. They are officials, they are people who have raced for many years, and basically I've got the word from them. So what's it all about? Well, essentially, if we look at this video right here from How Far Raceway, this is December of 2024. It is basically the second event that Petros has been to with the RTMG Performance Seat Ibiza. Now, of course, he did the national finals, and that was the very first outing for it. But we're talking about December 1, where he came back for the finale, and basically was the weekend where he ran his best times. Now, of course, back in November, it went into the sevens, all was fine. Come to the December run, again, a number of the runs over the weekend, perfectly fine. I can't remember them all, but there was like a 7.9, I think there was a 7.6, 191, so the speed massively up there. We have a 7.58, I think it was. I'll put the time ticket up here, it's been a long day. And then of course later in the day we had the 7.2. Now, of course, the 7.2 was with a lift at the finish line, so the mile an hour was down. It was 181 as he went through the finish line, and of course we all saw him go to the wall and pull the chutes early, so of course everyone just took that as the mile an hour was down because of that. Now, of course, a couple of people that messaged me said, have you seen this video? Now, of course, let's look at my video from the tower, and you can see my view from the tower. 476 in the 8, 729, 100. Okay, so as you can see from my view in the tower, it looks perfectly fine. 60 foot, we all thought was absolutely amazing. But again, don't forget, this is like the 5th, 6th, 7th run of a brand new car, brand new setup. The car's way lighter than it ever was. It's more powerful than ever it was. It's got a better ECU. It's got better everything. So with every testing run, the car we expect to go faster and faster. So when it ran the 1.1 60 foot, no one questioned. No one's questioned it in 6 months. No one's given it a second thought. And that's kind of where we were until the end of this weekend, when I got sent a video from a different angle questioning it. Now, of course, we tried to be as non-biased as possible, completely fair. That's the thing the European Front Wheel Drive League Table has been since 2012, and it's the way it will always be. I have never accepted draggy times because it's a timing ticket. 5 years ago, Jose Realista ran a 9:29 at Fatima. All they had was a timer, and it ended on 9:29. And for years, the Portuguese guys were like, Jose's ran 9s. There was no ticket, no entry to the list. And this is exactly the reason why I want to be able to see the incrementals and break it down if there is ever a question. Well, of course, Petros has got a timing ticket from Malta, and it does say 7.2, but after reviewing the footage, and this is through no fault of Petros's own, no fault of the team's own, it appears, it does, I say it appears, I've looked at a couple of different angles and we've looked at it and gone with a 60 foot, and it's now quite clear that that run was staged on the front bumper. As you can see here in the video, the car comes up into stage and hits one bulb and hits the second bulb. Now, like I said, the runs before this were perfectly fine, and again, this is a brand new setup of a car, so in no way is he attempting to stage it on the bumper to create a better ET. He is literally changing the smallest little increments on a car to get the setup right. And what he has done here, not even him, what the crew have done, I suspect, is that because they've changed nothing with the suspension, maybe they've dropped the tyre pressures a little bit for this run because it's getting later in the day and they're trying to go quicker, or more than likely is the traction bar on the back, they've adjusted that. And a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, will say in the comments, and I've seen it before, well, he only runs on 3 wheels. Yes, there was a run where the wheelie bar was adjusted too much. I think it possibly was that run, and you had the 2 front wheels planted and the rear wheels, one of them wasn't touching because it was riding on the wheel at the back. Now, that's another subject. Technically, wheelie bars are not supposed to touch the ground after the launch. They're allowed to hit the ground on the launch, and then after that, those wheelie bars should not be touching the track for the rest of the quarter mile. That's another argument we can go into, but right now we're sorting out who is number one. So he's done the lot. They've set the wheelie bars. I can only assume that when they've set the wheelie bars, they've got lower pressure on the front. The nose end has come down. I've had exactly the same in the Golf, the Mark V Golf that I race. We did a whole race event perfectly fine. We were not getting traction after qualifying. We dropped the tyre pressures by ½ pound. We come round, my bumper, the lower splitter, just tripped the beams on staging. I went on the 2-step, and because it was not my tyre, it was my bumper, when you went on 2-step, car vibrates, it reconnected the beam, and just for that split second when it reconnected the beam, it triggered a red light on the board. Of course, I come down to petition it. They showed me the video, because here at Santapod we have a camera on the start line, so I can literally look at that camera and they can look at that camera and go, right, it was in stage. So, you know, had this been at Santapod Raceway, we wouldn't have this problem because I could have looked at the camera. They don't have that at how far. It is what it is. Now, this all come around because at the door slammers, Petros went into stage and he was with the big tyres. They changed to the little tyres. They come down. The nose was too low then. Went into stage, tripped the mean. At this point, because it was door slammers, it's not an FIA meter or anything like that, our guys on the start line guided him into stage to make sure that his tyres were hitting the beam. Yeah. So all of his times from last weekend, perfectly fine. They were done on the tyre, the guys on the start line. The problem is, at how far, is Petros has gone into stage. As I said, every other run, perfectly fine. This run, maybe the wheelie bar was just set too tight and it's put the nose down. Petros has gone into pre-stage, full stage. He's looking at the beam. All he can know is that that is his tyre and that's where it is. And so he's gone and done the run. Fair play to him. He's done the run. He doesn't know any different. The guys are cheering, and that's kind of where we are. But upon reviewing the footage, you can see here on this side view, and this is where I had to get the video off Alekos. We looked as he comes up here into stage, and you see the car coming forward. Now, if I zoom in just before the start line, right here, you can see there's a small crack in the start line surface. So we're just going to use that as a guide. Look at that, and you can see that the tyre is just the start of the tyre is just slightly ahead of that crack. Now, that crack, unfortunately, as my thing falls over, now that crack, unfortunately, is not where the staging beams are. You can see there's a good foot there. So this is where we're saying he is staged on the front bumper, unbeknownst to him, and there's no one on the start line because it's a run with your brung day. There's no one there to guide him in properly. So, you know, there's no blame here. It's just the way it's happened. But unfortunately, for this reason, the 7.2 second run has now been taken off the European front wheel drive league table. So yes, this means after the door slammers that David Lamek from Poland is now Europe's fastest front wheel drive car. So congratulations, David Lamek. David is not one of the people who has protested this either. It is other people, but to be honest, it doesn't matter. We're all about parity and being fair here, and if they hadn't have noticed it, we wouldn't have noticed it anyway. And speaking to Petros, he's upset to lose number one, but at the same time, he just wants it to be correct. He'll happily drop down to number two, and of course we are back here this weekend for the FIA main event, so you never know, he could end up taking it back tomorrow or the next 5 days that we're here, but it is what it is. So yeah, so massive congratulations to David Lamek, who will now be at the top of the European front wheel drive league table. Of course, if you go back to the page right now, his photo will be on the top. So congratulations, David, you are Europe's number one. Again, I cannot reiterate to everybody how important it is that you have this 3-inch gap on the front of your car. That 3 inches should go from the front of your car all the way to your tyre. That must be clear. And like I said, we're back this weekend. Petros has now adjusted the suspension. Tomorrow he's going to come down and test. He's going to make sure it's perfect, and hopefully we'll have a clean race this weekend. And you never know, he might take it back tomorrow. He might not. We'll see. But good luck to everyone. And again, thank you very much for liking European front wheel drive, following on Instagram if you're on there, and of course subscribing on YouTube, because there's only a few of you, and hopefully some of you will watch this, and maybe you'll click on the other ones. Just uploaded a video from Arad. But yes, that's it. So there you go. In the name of fairness and all things correct, David Lamek is currently our champion as of the 21st of May. The fastest in the European front wheel drive qualifying so far, David Lamek taking on Alan Kenyon. Can we see another 7-second pass from the 2 times champion? Alan's away first. He's getting all gears. Here comes David. Go. 1:30.60 foot. Alan goes 11:19, but David goes through 7:55, 191 miles an hour.